Hello and welcome back to Avowed. We are pretty much at the last thing we need to do in the game. We've done every single side quest. We've done every single other activity. The only thing, apart from opening this and looting it, thing that we have to do is we have to go to the garden. That's it. This is the point of no return. How do I know? Well, when you save the game, the save comes up as
It's
point...
a magnificent keep. I just hope it doesn't become their prison.
Okay, I was talking. Yes, the save comes up as point of no return, which is crazy. So yeah, we are definitely there. In fact, it's been point of no return for a while. It's been point of no return ever since I think we went to Mount Forja. So this is the end game. Also, wait a second. I recognize this area. Oh. Well, now I know how we were meant to get back to Mihala. This is the area we came to so long ago, and I looked at these vines and went, that kind of looks like we could go through here. Yes. Yes, it does. Because this is the way back up to the keep, and the way back down to the garden. Aha, now things make a little bit more sense.
We have waited so long.
Don't like that. Well, it's time to enter the garden. You will not be able to return once you enter the garden. Do you wish to proceed? So this is very, very much the point of no return. This is, you are at the point, and now you have reached the point, and now, if I click yes, we are past the point of no return. So we are firmly in the end game.
Well, this is it, I guess. Feels very different from the last time I left Galawain's tusks. I will say, it's nice to look out and see Solace still standing. Thanks for that.
Well, Kostya had no right to make that decision for everyone.
Right. It's better than an Adiran envoy do it.
Ow!
Solace is still standing. And so are you. We're in this together.
Just so you know, Kai, it's starting to sound like you like me.
If you happen to need a reminder, do let us know. Brooding in silence can be quite the mood killer.
Not to spoil the moment with good news, but I doubt the rest of the island has been quiet while we've been looking for the garden. Things have only gotten more tense since Fjord, and the Steel Garrote probably hasn't been doing us any favors on that front.
Our friend was able to talk some sense into their leader, though. Hopefully, that will last. Not to mention, after we take care of the Envoy's little god problem, we'll still have an empire bearing down on us.
But that's not really a problem. I mean, the Adiran Empire is here for the good of everyone. I don't see how you would have an issue with that. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like things might actually work out okay. She's saying that we managed to influence Ludwig, and I think Ludwig is actually reasonable. Obviously, Ludwig goes to the extreme option for every situation, but if you present an option to Ludwig, there's a chance that she'll think about it. Now, if it contradicts her duty to Wodaka, then obviously that's the end of it. But there are definitely ways to influence Ludwig, and I don't think that she would do anything insane while we're gone. I say that optimistically. I don't know if it's true, though. Anyway, an island right for study. Instead we'll argue about who owns it. Reen Green was right to leave. No, Reen Green was awful. Like, her plans were terrible. Maybe curing the Dream Scourge will cure the island's insanity. Possibly. The Living Lands could be at war by the time we leave the garden. Or don't remind me, I didn't sign up for this. We literally did. Maybe curing the Dream Scourge will cure the island's insanity.
We should be so lucky.
Can't say I'm too excited about just walking into the garden. I grew up learning I needed to protect that place, but it never felt like more than a children's tale to me.
I hear you. This island is weird enough when all we have to worry about are vengeful plants and soul-altering corruption.
Am I the only one who's looking forward to the garden? We're pioneers, stepping into the great unknown, a land of mystery.
We have to remember to love them in spite of their lack of proper enthusiasm, dearie.
I suppose it'll be a rare opportunity to put a few metaphysical theories to the test. They have a right to be worried about certain death. Good point, we'll be the first to enter the garden in ages. Or you aren't afraid? I'm going to say this. Good point. We'll be the first to enter the garden in ages.
Can you imagine? An untouched spiritual wilderness just waiting for us. I have a theory about the garden, or a warning, depending on how you want to look at it. Sapadal has been imprisoned a long time. The garden will be a reflection of their dreams, their nightmares, their madness.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw visions or hallucinations, and not even the fun kind.
Oh, I wonder if this is how they're going to tie the memories back into the base game. As in, I wonder whether what we did in the memories is going to affect the visions or hallucinations. Also, if you're wondering what would happen if you didn't do any of the memories, my assumption is if you didn't do any of the memories, it would have like a default state. But that is intriguing. I wonder whether we're going to see some of the past that we created. Well, let's say, at least we get to meet Sapadal in person.
About that, before we go any further, I have to ask you something. You told the Inquisitor that you intend to kill Sapadal. Is that still the plan?
I mean, fundamentally, it seems like the only option, but I gave her my word. Maybe I should keep it. Unless anyone has a better idea. No idea, I was just trying to placate Ludwine. Do you disapprove? Or I can't discuss that while Sapadal is listening. Let's say unless anyone has a better idea. Let's open it to the floor. Does anyone else have a plan for how we get rid of the Dream Scourge and don't kill Sapadal?
For once, I'm all out of ideas. Anyone else?
I'm a soldier. I prefer leaving these decisions to people like you, but if you're asking for input, I don't entirely disagree with Ludwine on this. She may be a monster, but she's not the only one the Living Lands has seen. Sapadal could render this whole island as barren as the tusks in a fit of anger.
Sapadal caused the Dream Scourge. All of this pain. I don't think I can forgive that. Especially after seeing Iancu. I just can't let that go.
Think of what we could learn from Sapadal. Perhaps there's a way we can keep everyone alive.
Sapadal is responsible for the spiritual health of the Living Lands, and the island has suffered for it. No matter what the Inquisitor said, I don't believe there's a right or wrong choice to make here. Just the one you believe in.
I'm remembering back to the start, or the first area of the game. There was that, like, Titan-like thing. Did we end up putting Sapadal in it, or giving Sapadal control of it? I have a worrying feeling we did. But I was also wondering whether that's the way to get rid of Sapadal, or to stop Sapadal being a danger, is to isolate Sapadal in an Adra that isn't connected to anything else. And allow Sapadal to move around, to interact with the world, but only through a physical form. I don't know if that's possible, but that would seem like the easiest answer. Well, any more words of wisdom?
Just one. Remember, we're stepping into a realm that is both physical and spiritual in nature. If you can call it nature. There's no telling how long we'll be gone. For all we know, time could run backwards in the garden.
That's a very weird thing to say. The reason why it's very weird is not because Giata wouldn't be coming up with different things that could happen. It's the fact that that is her only thing that she says might happen in the garden. So there could be tons of possibilities from that. But if she's saying time could run backwards, it means that that is a real possibility. And it's something they may use. So, if it could run backwards, what would the consequences be? What would happen? The only way I could see that working narratively, and it's a horrible narrative thing, is if somehow we became Sapadal through some means or something like that. Like it's a self-fulfilling paradox. I don't know if that's the right word. I think paradoxes, but like it's a we were always Sapadal who then creates, it's almost like a grandfather paradox, but without any of the weirdness. But it's like, almost like we could be Sapadal, and then we created ourselves in the future to then go back to the past to then become Sappadal. Yeah, it's weird. I'm hoping that's not where it goes, though, because that seems far too weird for the story, and it also means that this would be a closed-loop story, in that there could be nothing outside it. Which is odd, right? You would want there to be something outside the story. You would want there to be an opportunity for something more, if this is going to be, like, their next big thing. I don't know if they're going to do an Avowed 2. I haven't really seen how this ends, but it seemed to be received well enough, so you'd assume that they'd been thinking about that. Or thinking about a Pillars 3, although I think they said they weren't going to do a Pillars 3 because Pillars 2 didn't do quite as well as they thought it would. But anyway, they're under Microsoft now. Microsoft have money. Anyway, does anyone feel like turning back? This may take a while.
Not a chance. We're a crew now, so you're stuck with me until the end. Marius?
I told you I'd be with you till the end. I don't go back on my promises. What about you, Giada?
You're not going into the garden without me. I have to see this with my own eyes. Yatsli, if you feel like running back to Quilici, now would be the time. No one would think less of you.
And tell Quilici that I missed out on the most exciting part.
What a patronizing way to say that, Giada. Like, if you feel like running back to Quilici and hiding with him, you coward, is where I'm reading the subtext. It's like, I don't know if they meant it like that, but that's how I'm hearing it, and I'm like, wow, so rude. Anyway, I say, alright then, we're in this together.
Fair weather or foul?
I plan on wandering the garden whether I'm traveling with you or not. I have to find out what the big deal is.
Agreed. I'm not waiting in camp while the rest of you have all the fun. Hope to see you out there, Marius.
Well, let's go then. We can't keep your god waiting.
Oh, everyone wants to talk. Giada?
So, this is it. The spiritual epicenter of the living lands. Where it all began, and where it all ends. For so long I have looked out on a horizon full of possibilities. Now that it's here, I'm too scared to breathe. Oh, why am I so anxious?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
I think that I'm juggling so many variables that it's impossible to focus on even one. Do you remember when Manto Pastor sent you after the heart of an Adragan?
Of course, to power his invention.
That was nothing compared to this. We are standing in the beating heart of the living lands. Just imagine what we can do with it.
Well, why must we do anything?
Animancers don't ask why. We ask how. My parents were going to build a better world for Animancers. That dream was their legacy to me. You and I have come farther than they did. To an impossible place where anything can happen. Anything.
Well, whatever you need, I'm here for you.
Of course you are. I don't know what's going to happen, but you've had my back since the beginning. I won't forget it.
Alright. Do you know any stories about the garden?
Well, that depends. I know a few spooky stories about the living lands. They may or may not have anything to do with the garden.
I want a spooky story.
Okay. But if something goes bump in the night, I'm waking you up.
Let me think of a good one. There are so many, I can't decide. Which do you want to hear first? I know one about a ranger's dream, one about a haunted well, and one about a golden city.
Oh, it's gotta be the Golden City.
Many years ago, when Fior Messiverno was barely a dot on the map, an Animancer got lost in the wilderness. He came upon a pair of ancient trees, their trunks and branches intertwined. A strange light shone in the space between the trees, and beyond that light, a city of gold. So the Animancer returned with an axe to chop the trees apart and fit his body through the narrow gap. But with every blow of his axe, the towers of the Golden City fell. The walls crumbled, the lights flickered out. By the time he made it through, there was nothing left. only the bones of a once mighty civilization. As for the 2 trees, they were dead, hacked to splinters, leaving him no path back the way he came.
That is obviously a metaphor for what Sapadal did to the Godless, right? It's the Godless saw the Golden City, they saw what they could have, but they had to destroy nature to get it, at which point their own civilization was destroyed. That's the end. I want to know what happens next.
The end of one story, and perhaps the beginning of another. It's very strange. I can't remember who told me that story, and no one claims to have heard it before.
Can I hear another story?
Of course. Which one did you have in mind?
Tell me about the haunted well.
Once upon a time, a young girl left town to fetch water from the local well. After pulling up the rope, she discovered the head of a Delimgan, one of the tree folk, staring at her from the bucket. "Return me to my grove," it said, "and I will grant you 3 wishes." So she carried the head into a peaceful clearing and sat it down on a tree stump. First, she wished for long life. The head granted her wish. Second, she wished to be impervious to a sword blade. Granted. And finally, she wished to know what happens after we die. No one ever saw her again. All they found was an Adra pillar in the middle of a clearing, next to an old stump.
That makes sense. I was thinking like a tree originally, and then she said what happened after you die. Adra pillar makes perfect sense then. Yeah, a long life in the Adra pillar, which is also what happens in this world when you die for a lot of the time. I say, spooky, I like that one.
I heard it as a child. Took me years before I would fetch water again.
That's a misstep from the parents. You just lost yourself a water carrier. Can I hear another story?
Of course. Which one did you have in mind?
Let's hear the one about the ranger's dream.
One sunny day, a ranger took a nap in the woods of Emerald Stair. He awoke to a forest of dead trees, the night sky full of unfamiliar stars. After getting his bearings, he walked in the direction of Fior Messivernal, but the settlement was gone. In its place was the most beautiful garden, hills bursting with flowers, the grass as soft as Valiant silk. Enchanted by this vision, he bent to pick a rose, but its thorn cut like a knife, severing 3 fingers. Then, a voice filled his head, shouting, "Go now, before the land takes you, body and soul." He awoke in his own bed, a wilted rose clutched in his 2-fingered hand.
That sounds very much like what Sapadal was talking about wanting to have a garden with roses with no thorns. I mean, these stories sound like they have a consistent theme.
Very perceptive. What do you think it is? I have my own opinion, but I'm curious about yours.
Okay. Mortals should not reach for immortal power. Beware of nature, for it punishes the careless. Or don't pursue what you don't understand. That's none of these fit, but I feel 2 is the best one. Beware of nature, for it punishes the careless.
That is true of many places, not just the living lands. These stories might not shine any light on the garden, but they could inform the way we think about it. First, the garden is beyond all mortal understanding. If you think you're safe here, you're not. And second, when you walk into the unknown, make sure to bring a friend.
Good thing we have each other.
Indeed. I couldn't have made it this far on my own. Hey, you're a good listener. Not everyone has the patience to hold their questions to the end. Alas, that is all I can tell you about the garden. For now, at least.
Can I hear another scary story?
Certainly. You...
No, I'm not. No, we don't need to have them again.
Well,
Right, see ya.
who could rest at a time like
Yatsley.
this?
There's my favorite Adiran.
Oh, that's it? Nothing from Yatsley, just stuff from Giada. Or Kai. Marius?
Envoy, what do you need?
Nothing. Oh, so it was just Giada who needed to speak to us. Interesting. Oh yeah, we have extra outfits here, don't we? Oh, no, I don't. I was just seeing if there's any outfits we want to have on for the end, but... No, I mean, the Obsidian collection stuff is cool. But I don't know if we want to have any of this. Oh, that is an outfit and a half. Okay, oh, I now know what the Eora outfits are. So these are like what they would wear if they were in pillars. Right? So these are outfits that like a Rawatayan would wear, a Pargrunan, a Valian, and then an Orlan. Okay. Well, that makes sense. What else have you got? The Obsidian collection, and then, yeah, no. And the Obsidian is just obviously the same thing in black. Right, it's just the same as a normal outfit, but in black. Alright, cool. That's fine. Thought we'd have a look while we were here. I think I'm good to go, actually. I think I'm good to go.
Does anyone want to share a scary story?
Alright.
Gods no.
Why not? We've got everything we need. The crackling campfire, the foreboding ambiance.
I actually need to get some rest tonight. I'd rather not spend the whole night screaming in my sleep.
Well, I liked Giada's story.
Thank you, Yatsley. I suppose I owe the rest of you an apology. I didn't mean to frighten anyone.
Your stories are very good. They're just feeling a little too close to reality right now.
I'll try and think of something more pleasant then. Like a mouse and a rabbit going on pathetic little adventures.
Alright. Let's rest for the night and exit the party camp. Alright, who's going to the garden? Well, it's Kai and Marius. Marius has to go to the garden, I feel, because Marius was part of a society whose whole purpose was to defend the garden. He has to go. Kai is a companion who has never left our side, so he has to go. Giada, I feel, would be my fourth choice in terms of who to go. Yatsley is like a close third. She could go. It would be in place of Kai. But I feel like our playthrough is more aligning with a Kai-Marius type dynamic. So, that's what we're going for. I feel like these two would have fit like the other side of the playthrough. So, like if you were to do like a Rebel playthrough, I feel like a Giada Yatsley kind of thing fits a lot better. Like a Sapadal favored one. But I feel like these two fit this path, at least for now. We'll see. We'll see. I'm also kind of hoping that they only make you use them for like wandering through and that like at big moments all your party members will be there. But anyway. What do you mean they need to speak to us? Where are they going to speak to us? Game? At what point are we going to... Like, neither of them wanted to speak to us in camp. So is there a camp in here? In the garden? There are 2 party camps, and a strangled Adra, and an ancient memory here. Wow. That's a lot, given that there isn't, like, any side quests in this area. Also, we have an ability point? For who? For us. Why? I guess I shouldn't ask. I should just, like, take something. I guess I'll go for another point and blast. That now means that the nearby enemies take the same amount of damage as the original attack. And then I can get bounced to hit 2 enemies afterwards, and that'll be good. Right, well, let's go then, shall we? I mean, we know they had nothing...
This way?
We know they had nothing to say to us back in the party camp because we spoke to Marius. Oh. Alright. And there we go. There's a jump. And a jump. And then a cross. Well, we're here now. Grab that. And into the garden. Very cool. Right. Let's pick this. Definitely you're gonna burn this.
Here it comes.
We were warned about nature non-stop, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna burn this though. Alright. Magwyn's Fury. And a rather odd looking chest. We're expecting all chests to be like yellow at this point, by the way. Like, they're all either going to be crafting material for like the top tier gear, or they're going to be top tier gear. We are not expecting any like garbage material at this point of the game. Well, except for I guess on this guy. Now you see even there, legendary upgrade material. Madgefolk Orison 1. Life is a prayer. God function defines the good prayer, and we pray it with our hearty holy genocide. Now says God function, destroy the insisted ones, puncture the cyst of their secessionist Adra, smother their children, for they are without soul, slaughter their livestock, for they are without soul, turn them out from their dwellings and make a census of them, to pray to God function, so that God will know the extirpation of the insisted ones is complete. Of them, Abaddon says, nothing can be made of that which is hoarded, so punish the hoarder. Of them, Barath says, they are not upon the wheel, so they do not live or die. They are as inert as stone. Of them, Aethys says, there is no hope for them, as they are enthralled by the hopeless, so deliver hope unto them. Of them, Galawain says, hunt them down, even to the last child, as the predator hunts even unto the preyest. Of them, Hylia says, among them neither chick nor child is born with a soul, so there is no birth among them. Go make a bloody birth of them. Of them, Magwyn says, make war on them. Of them, Ondra says, strike away all memory as the tide strikes the shape from this world. Of them, Rimragand howls. Of them, Skane says, make an effigy of them, disfigure them until their effacement is complete. Of them, Wells says, all the strangeness of the alien among them shall be mine. There is no stranger thing in the world, and I shall have it for my own. Of them, Mordecai says, make an oath of their utter annihilation. This is God function, which is the topmost camarel of our mind. Ah, well, you now know how the different gods were lying on it, although that didn't sound like what Aethys said initially. Oh, wow. So we need to get down there somehow, obviously. Oh, there's a light thing here. Alright. Well, let's follow this through. I haven't seen an enemy yet. Oh, actually now I see them on the minimap. I've now seen enemies. Letter from Tain. So the Archmage Tain, we were told, could be in the area. Dear Lengrath, I made it to the garden somehow. Last thing I remember is getting lost, stumbling through the woods past a volcano, and now here I am. Then again, maybe it was all a dream. Maybe this is a dream too. What else is new? The plants are a nice touch, but a bit too humanoid. They'd fit right in at the halls obscured. A little greenery to brighten up the enclosures. Anyway, I believe this marks the end of my sightseeing tour of the living lands. Not a moment too soon. I miss the comforts of home. Now, how do I leave? Oh well, I'll figure something out. I always do. Wink. Your friend, Tain the Archmage, author of Tain's Chaotic Orb. P.S. I'm leaving this here for you, or a future version of you, to find someday. Take care. See you at the next meeting of the Circle. I'll save you a seat next to me at the big table.
Right, what's the table?
Whoa!
I feel like it's
Archmage. That's what Tain is.
Shake it off. Go on 10.
Okay, heal. Just use that for a second to give us a moment of peace. It's absolute chaos. Binding roots. Keep shooting. Okay. A little chaotic. Okay, a little essence. Ow, I got shot by something. Oh, by the... Okay. By that. Shoot up, so that it goes down again. Oh, bear dead. One more down there.
Take Worth and Roth. Well done.
I also noticed how they're all exploding into like red bits around here. Also, there we go. We'll click this for a while. There we go. Right. It gives us a bunch of essence back. Right. So good to know, even after reading things, we might get attacked. They do like they're attacking as you're doing something else. Like, to kind of make you not prepare for it. I'm not sure I like it, but I understand why it's being done. It's so you can't fully prepare for every fight. Right. Also, that was 2 fights in 1, because these guys were already existed before we read the letter. Is this where I need to go? It is.
How did I know I'd be jumping into a giant pool of water today?
I should just have my weapon out every time we go to do something. Like when I open this, we're probably going to get attacked from behind. No. Alright. Climb. And further. Over here. And Magfolk Orison 2. Life is a prayer. Of the insisted ones we made a holy slaughter. The young we smothered with our hands. Of the oldest we made fires. We rendered them down into fuel to clear the insisted growth. From some we removed the hands, from others the feet, from others the features, all of which we gathered in heaps which drew the insisted wildlife to feed. Into these heaps we set poison. Of their severed heads we made pyramids, 10 heads to a side, and the count of heads in each pyramid was 385. Of these pyramids there were counted 7,707. We spared those who could run with vigour, so that they would lead us to other dwellings of the insisted. We made it known that mercy could be purchased by tribute, so that the insisted would gather together their livestock, their wine and wealth to present to us. The first 10 of these tributes we accepted and gave mercy. Then, after the 11th tribute, we began to kill all those assembled. In this way we made them gather themselves to be taken census and killed. In this way we approached God through prayer. Now, I would like to at this point say that I never said that Wodaka's side was good. I don't think I said that anyway. All I was suggesting is that Sapadal was not good, and the choice wasn't Wodaka or Sapadal, the choice was Sapadal and Wodaka, or Wodaka. So, in no point was I saying the previous gods were good, because they are quite clearly horrible as well. Alright, we'll have the sword. And jump.
Don't look down.
Ooh, just look and see if there's any loot in here, like over here. That's weird. I can't tell you to do a fire starter because it's underwater. Well, what do I do with that then? That must be a way out of somewhere. Must be a way out from over here, I guess. Ah. Alright. We have our first camp. Anything in here, by the way? Nope. Okay. Well, grab that. I'm not going to go to camp just yet, but we will very soon. Right. I think I already have it equipped. And there we go. I see. This would be why people were really annoyed at Yardsley, because they you would have had to have had Yardsley with you to open that up, like in the previous patches of this game. Yeah, I could see how that would really annoy people. Yeah, that would be extremely annoying if you had to have Yardsley with you, because it limits your party choices essentially. Ah. Or it could say that the devs wanted you to only have Yardsley at this point of the game, which is also possible, but I don't know. I'm going to assume it... Oh, I guess I could have destroyed the one on the ceiling. Yeah, and that would have given you the perfect one to do a one jump. But anyway. Yeah, I'm going to assume that's not the case, because if they only wanted you to have Yahtzee, there were other ways of making sure that you only took Yahtzee. Alright, we'll grab that. There's a couple of enemies nearby. Suggested there were some down here. Enemy gonna spawn when I open this? No? Wild Walker armor. Okay, receiving an elemental status applies that status to all nearby targets. And it increases fire, frost, and shock accumulation. So like a kind of melee one where you deliberately try and get yourself hit with elemental stuff. Or maybe a counter to elemental stuff. Legends abound of a powerful druid and watcher known only as the Wild Walker. She is said to have possessed a singular mastery of the art of spirit shifting, able to assume not just one beastly form but many. According to legend, she one day found herself wandering the strange and impossible landscape of the beyond. How long the Wild Walker roamed this dreamlike plane is unknown, but upon her return she was forever changed. The spirit shifts were therefore suffused with a maelstrom of elemental power, though had warped and monstrous appearances. This armor still holds a measure of her elemental might that the Wild Walker could call upon, empowering the wearer's own attacks and punishing enemies that turn the elements against them. It doesn't actually say it empowers attacks, though. That's weird. Kind of feels like that was written before the effect was. Which is probably true. Or potentially true. That gets you here. But there are other places we can go. You saw somewhere saying there were enemies. And there's definitely an underground bit. Okay, that was a bit of a fail. Let's try this. So we're going to go ice. Oh, that... Okay, there's no bouncing. Right, next thing, can I chuck a grenade underwater? No. Okay. Then I ask you, how are we going to do this? This is quite clearly... Oh. You can just come out of the water slightly. Jump. Keep jumping. Keep jumping. There was a point where I got my wand out. Just spam the button and keep jumping. I almost threw it. I'm just wandering my head in here, like... There's definitely a point where you can do it. Maybe this is one of these areas that links back round into itself. Can we see on the map? Not really. It could link round there, though. Yeah, it kind of looks like it links around there. Let's try going into the only other area we can access currently. That seems like a sensible thing to do. Let's assume it's in the only area we can access. Also, can I just climb this? Yeah. Cool. So maybe there's an underwater bit here? No. Again, can I just climb this wall? Nope. Yes. Yes, you can. You can do this whole area without any of the ice stuff. Alright. It's interesting. Trying to see if there's anything else, like any other ways out here. That's this passage. Which it claims there's a way through here. I don't see it. Maybe a way out here? Ah, we can see a way forward here. It says through the godless shrine, there's a way up that way. Ah. So this must be something we do later. Yeah, you must be able to access this from the other side. Yeah, that's what I'm going to assume there. And that's a way to see this chest from that side of it. Also, it's interesting, there were a lot of the creatures we saw at the start of the game that got corrupted in here. It's weird. Anyway, Let's set up our party camp. 2 people want to speak to us. Hello.
Envoy, what do you need?
I guess he wasn't one of the 2. I thought he was. Kai?
When you find Sapadal, I hope you tell him how much I love what they've done with this place.
There is something beautiful amidst this chaos.
And you've got to enjoy it where you can find it. Besides, as divine prisons go, I can imagine much worse.
If a god is a being of vast essence, then imprisonment means isolating a massive, powerful soul in the Adra here.
You make it sound like we have a ticking bomb under our feet. And judging from Sapadal's outbursts at Mount Forja and Nakukubel, you're probably not far off. They're a few provocations away from disaster.
We could also assume that maybe Tane coming to the garden caused some of this. Maybe he connected the Adra. But, Zapadal and I talk about compassion and forgiveness. I believe they can change for the better. Who wouldn't be? They've been imprisoned for at least centuries at least. They were volatile before their imprisonment. Since then, they've unleashed the Dream Scourge. Or Zapadal is complicated. No, I think 3 is reasonable. They were volatile before their imprisonment.
Exactly. And what are the odds that centuries of imprisonment have improved their temper? Setting them free means gambling with the lives of everyone in the living lands. It's not worth it, but it's not my call. I don't envy you having to deal with a loose cannon of a god. But I envy even less the mess you're going to have when we escape this place.
Well, what do you mean?
While we're tracking down your god, things are heating up between your Adiran comrades and the locals.
Well, I was sent to deal with the Dream Scourge, not politics.
And some days you wake up and the deck of your ship's covered in bird shit. You can clean it up or you can step in it. That's the choice.
Well, that's true.
The Steel Garrote leveled Fjord. Even if Animancers aren't the most popular bunch, everyone gets nervous when fields burn. And yeah, I know that's on the Steel Garrote, but it's not lost on anyone that your people despise Animancy. Not when Heelguard banned the practice in Paradise.
I see your point.
Oh, I wish I were finished. You helped Ludwig destroy Nakukubel. And while most people don't give a tarnished skate for godless ruins, they'll see that as a powerful demonstration of siege weaponry.
Well, but we stopped a bunch of Dream Thralls. The alternative would have been worse for Thirdborn.
One thing I've learned about war: strife and distance have a way of reducing nuance. All anyone else is gonna see is a threat display, on the doorstep of the Living Land's best cannoneers, no less. And then there's Solace. You might have saved the keep, but no one's gonna talk about the disaster that didn't happen. They're gonna talk about why Mount Forja erupted after all this time.
It's a volcano. Adir can't possibly be blamed for a volcano.
You'd be surprised where people can find blame when they're spun up. And it looks real bad when a Steel Garrote force just so happened to be there when it went down. Fairly or not, a lot of blame's gonna be laid at Adir's door. And if I had to guess, I don't think Heelguard's been helping matters while you've been out here.
Well, so tensions are high and everyone out here is well armed. What about it?
If and when we get out of here, we're walking into a powder keg. And you'll have to choose a side. That's the part I don't envy.
Well, let's see. Adir is my home. You can't expect me to turn my back on my people.
I don't. And for what it's worth, I wouldn't blame you for choosing that. Finding kin and countryfolk is a hard thing to ask of anyone. It's part of why I came out here. I lost my stomach for Rauatai's campaign in the Deadfire, but I wasn't going to turn insurgent against my own people either. I don't mean to burden you. It's late, and you've still got a god to face. Just know that whatever you choose, I'll fight alongside you. I'm with you to the end of this.
Thanks, Kai.
Anytime.
Alright.
Good night, Envoy.
So was it Giada who wanted to speak to us? Not Yardsley. Not Giada. Oh, Marius.
Envoy, what do you need?
Thoughts on our companions?
Let's make sure they're not listening. The only one we haven't talked about is Yardsley. I don't know. Things have changed a bit, I guess. She's not so bad. I mean, she's loud and impulsive and always trying to get herself killed, and she keeps saying things to get a rise out of me, Envoy. But, joke's on her, no one's gotten a rise out of me in years. But other than that, we can get along. She could be sweet, too, when she's not introducing me to a new word for my oak and acorns.
Well, that should be everything. Yeah, I guess he doesn't want to speak to us.
Have you ever met a marine god?
Oh.
One of Andra's children?
Ingati's children, as they're called in Deadfire. I've heard stories, but never met one. They're rare everywhere, but revered among the Wana.
I've always wanted to study one up close, but they're a slippery bunch.
Why are you so interested?
Purely academic reasons.
I might know a particularly charming one, if you need an introduction, dearie.
Maybe I'll take you up on that. Later, of course. And let's keep it between us.
Too late. We heard everything.
Alright. Well, I mean, if he doesn't want to speak to us, he doesn't want to speak to us. Nothing we can do about that. Ah.
A breath held. Trepidation. You are close, yet distant still.
Well, I had to rest. This place is exhausting in a way I can't describe.
Your soul is small. The essence weighs like the sea on your chest. We feel the pressure, darkness, yet somehow strengthened resolve. We wonder.
You know what I wonder?
Deer leaps at its reflection in the lake.
Well, I indulged your curiosity, you can indulge mine.
An equal trade. We accept.
What would you do if you weren't imprisoned?
The sky is green. The fish breathes air. We can no longer imagine.
Take your time.
We would run, roll with the tide, sink our fingers into new earth. Whisper in the fields, lift the hills gently in our hands.
What about the people who live on those hills?
Disturb the dirt, but spare the blooms. Shake the roots slowly. Vengeance denied, squandered. This cannot be.
What was that?
We spoke of flowers.
No, you definitely said something just now.
We speak of freedom when the hand still clasps around our throat. Wake now. Find us.
It's definitely an evil side to Zapadal. Some would argue every side, but I wouldn't be the one to do that. Alright, where's this go? This is interesting. That goes down there. We'll follow this down here. And we got a door. Door activated by some sort of button. Hello?
Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Or am I going mad?
Are those your parents? Yeah, is this a side quest as well or something? Optional, okay. Hello.
What is the meaning of this? It can't be real. This is an illusion. A joke. Tell me we're both seeing the same thing.
It's your family's lab all over again.
But worse. So much worse. Why am I cursed to see this again? Why does the memory follow me wherever I go?
Well, I think the garden is misleading us, playing with our senses.
Wanna know what I think? I think someone's laughing at me. Whoever is responsible, I'm tired of the bullshit. Step forward and answer for yourself, coward.
Godlike of Sapadal, long have we awaited you.
Finally, you've come home.
How is this not the strangest thing that has happened today?
Oh my gods. They're alive?
You hear them too?
I can hear them, but not with my ears. It feels like someone hitting my soul with a tuning fork.
Greetings, plant.
What do you think you're doing?
Giada Castel, welcome.
Wait, you know me? How do you know me?
For centuries, our whispers filled the silence. Then we heard your mother's call.
My mother? You heard her?
She reached out to us, using the tool you now carry.
But that would have been years ago. The first time she used the phantasmal focus. The only time she used it.
We heard, and Sapadal answered, saying in a great voice, "We are here. You have found us."
But when Sapadal speaks, the living lands trembles. The voice of a god can be a terrible thing.
You're saying Sapadal was responsible for the lab accident?
No, this can't be. What exactly happened to my parents? Tell me, please. I need to know.
Sapadal wanted to be heard, and in so doing, twisted your family in body and soul, broke them into a more suitable shape.
Sapadal does not know the limits of their strength. Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made? Do you have any idea what my life has been since your little mistake?
After the incident, your parents were like us, and we took pity, so we helped them move on, as they wanted.
In the end, they thought only of you, their pride, and their love.
That's it. That's really it. The answer I've been searching for all these years. Sapadal destroyed my family.
Welcome to the Kill Sapadal Club. You think, well, what are these things? No, let's say, I'm so sorry, Giada. I had no idea about any of this. We have to say that first, beyond anything else.
I don't hold you responsible. I don't even know if I hold Sapadal responsible. Your god has the intelligence of a scatterbrained goat, but that isn't their fault. It's simply how they came into being.
Yeah, but like, if a scatterbrained goat got an AK-47 and started going to town, you would still get rid of the goat. That's all I'm saying. Right? What are these things?
We are companions, toys, diversions. Sapadal fashioned us out of dreams and memories.
I can't believe it never occurred to me. They're animats. Ancient vessels held together with duty and loyalty. Their design is unusual, organic, much like the garden itself. Sapadal's work. All this time, your god has been making imaginary friends, drawing pictures on the walls of their cell. It's almost too sad to imagine.
You think they're telling the truth?
I know they are. My mother and father would not have wanted this. A good animancer embraces death. And they were the best. One final question, spirits. What is this? Why are you trying to ruin my life again? Is this your way of haunting me? What is it you want?
Well, that was 4 questions, but sure.
Marius.
We want to apologize on Sapadal's behalf, and for the part we played in your sorrow.
They want to apologize. I came to the garden for answers, not to offer forgiveness.
Well, I trust you to make this decision yourself. We're not going to tell her how she should feel. I'm thinking 2 would be what we'd say, but you can make the decision yourself.
Shit. This is going to hurt. Sapadal has been trapped here for millennia. Alone. Confused. Screaming into the void for anyone who will listen. When they heard the voice of a stranger, they overreacted. How can I hold that against you? Apology accepted.
Thank you, Chiara. And thank you, Godlike, for bringing her all this way.
The time has come for you to find your patron, as you were meant to.
Should I expect to find more of these apparitions in the garden?
A garden is whatever you plant in it.
Sapadal wishes to be understood, as all mortals do. Seen, as all mortals are. What you see is the truth, glimpsed through their eyes, and they wish to share it.
A god going out of their way to show themselves as mortal? Interesting proposition. What will happen to you?
Now that you have returned to the garden, Sapadal has everything they need. We will fade, as all things fade.
Oh, we are definitely getting mind controlled and taken over at some point. Let's say, but there's so much more we could learn from you.
You have already learned more than we could ever teach. We know only growth and stillness, root and flower.
We will return to the soil from which we emerged. In time, you will do the same.
Rest well.
Our purpose draws to a close. A long rest is assured. May the living lands receive you with open arms. Farewell.
Goodbye. We need to talk about this, but not here.
Fair enough.
Feels like one of those times when getting answers doesn't mean getting closure.
Open the chest. And take that from you as well. Unusual book. The book is penned with dark tree sap instead of ink, every stroke done with a slow, meticulous hand. Most of the pages contain sketches of the garden, unfamiliar animals, and even music in some ancient notation. Only the final page contains legible writing. Forgive us. The problem is, my Sapadal narrative is already written. Sapadal does horrible things and then asks for your forgiveness and then does them again. So fundamentally we can't believe anything Sapadal ever says. Because we know that Sapadal will always ask for forgiveness. And then never learn. That's the problem. Yeah. I'm looking, by the way, for the thing we need to shoot. Although that could be the other side of the door. That's the other thing here. We're looking at here. Yeah. Don't know. It could be the other side of the door. See if there's an obvious place around here that I'm missing. I don't see it. No, it's not there. Like this quite clearly goes in there, right? So that it's at the other side. So this must open from the other side. This, on the other hand, goes along here and then in here. Then presumably goes it goes up here. So then where does it go? Oh, it's just a button. I see. Destroy that. And that. Is a trap, Sapadal? Just in case. Charm of Bones. Summon a trio of skeletons to fight with you. Since it is comprised of various small bones affixed to a cord of sinew, this macabre necklace stinks of the grave. Alright, I haven't said it this series, but I'll say it because it's something I have looked up. Macabre is how you say it in the UK. Macabre is how you say it in the US. You say it differently in French, which is what both of them are ruining. Anyway. The noise created by the bones clicking together sounds like a gruesome chime, causing your hair to stand on end. This particular charm was lovingly crafted by a self-serving, hedonistic death godlike chanter who used his powers of beckoning to the dead to unusual ends. As a master musician, he never found other living players to be at his level of skill, so instead taught his undead minions how to play just as he did. Thus he became the ringleader of his own vile marching band. Cool. Alright, well, we'll leave here. We'll double check that there's no switches or anything here, but like the fact that we can see through here definitely shows that that's like the other side. Also, I almost, like, I'm 90% sure that I was about to glitch through there until I deliberately moved ourselves back. So, yeah, interesting. Oh, and here, anything in this bit? Nope, it's just a bit where you can fall. Alright then. And now we are back here again. Giada, you wanted to speak? Let's speak. We'll give Marius another chance as well while we're here. Marius, attempt 2.
Envoy, what do you need?
You to tell me what you're thinking.
Thanks for talking.
Giada?
All this time, I thought my parents died in a freak accident. An experiment gone awry. A mistake. And in a way, they did. But it wasn't their mistake. It was Sapadal's.
Does knowing that help?
That's what I keep asking myself. This whole experience has me considering my family's work in a different light. Look at what my mother accomplished. Armed with her research and her wits, she found a god. When you speak to a god, it's nothing. Barely a reflex. But for the rest of us, it's unimaginable. No animancer can live up to that. Certainly not me. I thought their legacy was a curse, and I could only break it by completing their work. I was wrong.
There's definitely an implication as well that it could be her parents that triggered the Dream Scourge by giving Sapadal a way out. That's just interesting. Let's say that burden was never yours to carry.
Exactly. I made it my burden. And for what? One thing is certain. When it comes to animancy, I need to unlearn some of my old assumptions. I wanted to tame the spirit of the living lands. Now, there's so much about it I don't understand. And it's creepy, but wonderful.
Well, could you still use animancy to help the living lands?
Perhaps, as long as no one gets in my way. I believe the power flowing out of the garden drove this island mad. That has to end. Through animancy, we could help the living lands recover. It would take a lifetime, maybe more, but that's a small price to pay. Then again, who am I to interfere with an ecosystem that I barely understand? On the other hand, half the fun of animancy is stirring the pot and getting into trouble. I think I know what I want, but there are too many variables to consider. What do you think?
It's interesting. I would say that the ecology of this land has been forever tainted by Sapadal, and that nothing here is as it should be. So, it's not like you're interrupting the natural flow of things, unless you see Sapadal as a natural force. You're just trying to make it a stable environment. You owe it to yourself to continue your research and grow as an animancer. You don't need animancy, or I trust you to make the right choice. I trust you to make the right choice.
Of course you trust me. I'm brilliant. But we've been together long enough that I value your opinion.
I would much prefer if you had made your own opinion, but I'm going to choose one. You owe it to yourself to continue your research and grow as an animancer. We say as coming from an empire that has banned animancy, we're still like, well, it doesn't apply to our companions.
I have a lot of catching up to do. and plenty of room to grow. But I think you're right. So be it. Starting today, I don't have to live up to anyone's example. Animancy can be whatever I make of it.
Whatever you do, I'm sure it'll be ambitious and unexpected.
Knowing me, maybe a little too ambitious and unexpected. Now I just have to decide which field of research to pursue. But no need to bore you with the details. I've only got one lifetime as Giada Castel, so I'd better make it count. Hey, you helped me through a very difficult time. I just wanted to say thank you.
If anyone's gonna lead the way for animancy, I can't think of a better fit than you.
Alright. Yeah, the reason I didn't like it where it made us choose is because it feels like I'm just picking what epilogue slide I want. It feels a little less natural. But, anyway. I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you very much for watching, and next time we head further into the garden. Thank you for watching, see you next time. Goodbye.